All right. Good morning. Good morning. What you've missed already on the call was me just saying that I'm on a whole nother level of caffeination right now, and I'm gonna try and focus. Um, but I want to start off this morning. It's the beginning of the month. I think this is the first Wednesday I've been on here. I want to celebrate you. I want you to celebrate yourself. So if you can unmute, I want you to verbally celebrate yourself, speak positivity over yourself. If you cannot, but you want to drop it in the chat, please do that. So go ahead and just unmute. If you have something you want to celebrate and share, speak the words from your mouth.
I'm just happy I signed up my niece this week. I've been wanting to sign her up for 5 years. So
amen.
Yeah.
Vice President
Amen. I love it.
And Governor Mike DeWine will select a replacement for him ahead of a special.
I had my biggest points month last month that I've had since joining. So
Yes. I love that. Celebrate it. Tell your brain, this is a good thing. This is a good thing to remember.
So I guess I would need confirmation from Rachel on this, but I guess it's the 13th or 14th exposure. I finally got a friend of mine to sign up last night.
Yes. I love that. And listen, it's like 7 to 12 touches, which sounds outrageous. I don't know, Sean, if you're a gunslinger. Like I was a gunslinger. I was like, yes, it sounds great. Sign me up. Here's my info. Like 2 days later, I was in, right? But
he did it to prove me wrong.
He did it to love the stubbornness. It paid off. I love it. So yeah, it does 7 to 12 touches minimal. Like I've got people I followed up for years. So I love that. Such a win. Who else? Come on, celebrate yourself.
I just earned the cabin credits. I'm excited about that. I'm pushing to sweep it. So I'm like, we've still got the rest of this month and next month. So
love it. Yes. Y'all, these are things too, like that is good for your subconscious, because I did an exercise one time. I think it was with Emily Roberts. And it's like, when you sit and you go back and you have to make a list of the things that you've accomplished, that is when you write this stuff down. Like Allie's like, these are my biggest points ever, right? So if she ever falls back, she can just remind her conscious mind, like, hey, you've done this. You've earned the 3rd tier of convention contest. You've signed someone up after following up all of these times. It did work. So I love it. Who else? Somebody else. Celebrate yourself.
I signed up both of my parents and my sister.
I love it. I love it. Family can be the hardest, y'all.
I'm telling you.
Megan, oh my Lord. I'll hear you right there. Anybody else? Come on.
I'm thankful that normally I'm not as high in points by this time of the month, but the flash sale got several people to order that haven't ordered in a while. So I'm hoping to keep that going with the next one.
Yes, I love it.
People aren't answering me, but you know, I'm gonna get my team focused, and I'm offering a drawing this month for everybody who orders their 100 PV, and see if we can get more people going and re-rank.
I love it. I love it. And something I noticed too with I was working with one of the girls on my team, and she had somebody that like didn't give her a shout out, and like they weren't like, they kind of ignored it. They were like, I don't know, we'll see. But like once they did say they tried the pumpkin lean, right? And all that she was like, oh, how do you like your, and they're like, oh, it tastes really good. I like it. I was like, okay, that is your opening to be like, hey, can you just put up like, here's a stock picture of the pumpkin lean, or take a picture of your shake and just say like, I love how this tastes. Thanks to my, like, it becomes more of a personal shout out, and they're just saying like, hey, I love how this tastes. Thanks to my friend Sharon for sharing this with me. So don't forget to go back to the people that are ordering those things and be like, hey, what do you think about the cocoa? Hey, what do you think about this? Like, just to get positive feedback. So they're like leaving a review, right? So don't forget to circle back to those people that did place orders, maybe that haven't ordered in a while, or they ordered something different. Love that, Mary. Way to move white lines. Who else? Anybody else? All right. We are going to talk today. And I want you guys to know this, like, and I've said this before and I'll say it every single time. A lot of times I end up coaching my team and my calls on things that like I'm learning or I'm going through or if I'm experiencing or I've come on the other side of. So always know that it's coming from a place of like, I am in the trenches with you. Like there is no mountain to be stood on. Okay. And so like, I'm talking to you, I'm talking to myself. So, okay. We are taught in this business let me back up. Before this business, like I was definitely that person. I've said this before. I'm like, there's a self-growth section at Barnes and Noble. Like, did people actually go in there? There's like Audible for self-growth. Like who actually listens to that stuff? Right. Like I was just not that person. I don't know. I just never dabbled in it until I was in Plexus and realized this is like, just a self-growth journey with a comp plan attached. And we've done a lot of work, right? We do a lot of coaching. If you guys have been around for like any amount of time, you've seen like coachings where we put people in the hot seat and like in front of a bunch of strangers, you get literally like broken down and vulnerable. And you're like, I don't even know what's wrong with me. Like, how did we get here? But it is the hard work that we have to put in, right? And we think that's the hard work. Getting to the root. It's just like our gut health, right? Get to the root of the problem. Get to the root of why isn't my business growing? Why am I not duplicating? Why do I not take this serious enough? Why, when I actually sit back and look at my day, Plexus was never a priority today? What getting to the root cause of those things, right, is super important and super powerful. But y'all, that is not the work. Okay. So many times we spend so much energy and so much time and we read and we listen and we grow and we talk and we're like, okay, I finally figured out this is my problem. This is where I personally have uncovered in the last couple months some things. I'm like, okay, this is literally the tape that is on silent in my brain. Like I don't hear it until I like dig for it. Right. That's not the work. Is it hard to get through those emotions? And I'm so not an emotional person. Like I don't want to, I don't like them. Let's just avoid them. That's me naturally. But like to dig through all of that is like heavy and yucky and nobody wants to feel those things. Nobody wants to acknowledge like the pitfalls of themselves. And that's not the work. The work is when you uncover the junk, you uncover the thing, and then you have to get into action. The action is the hard part because you have to make a change. You have to do something different. You have to believe something different. You have to be willing to step into an uncomfortable position. You have to be willing to step out and be like, okay, I have no idea what this looks like because is anybody else on here like super schedule oriented, like me, my kids? If my husband were to walk in the door right now, I would be like, oh my God, like I'd start shaking. Like, now what? Like, I feel like my whole day just erupt. What are you doing home? And that's probably what I would say. What are you doing home? And he'd be like, I live here. And I'm like, no. What are you doing home? Like, I am so scheduled, so regimented. I live in this state of routine that when I get a curveball, it's like, now what? Now, right? So that's how I feel sometimes when I uncover these things and I'm like, okay, great. We've done the hard work. I felt all the feelings. I've figured it out, what's been tripping me up subconsciously. Now I have to change something. Now I have to do something that's uncomfortable. I don't like that. Most people don't like that. That's where the work comes in. Figuring this stuff out is only like the beginning. Right? And if we do the hard work and we get through the junk and we figure it out, why do we stop ourselves from having what we can actually have? I talked about this a couple weeks ago. So many times we set this goal and we're like, you know, it's so far-fetched. This is what we could have. This is what we're going to do. This is what our business is going to look like, you know, and we don't actually stop to think like beyond that and to like how big it actually could get because we've limited ourselves. Well, it's the same thing when we uncover something, we don't realize the power that we now have. The power over your subconscious. I know this has been holding me back. I know this has been tripping me up. I know I've been worried about what people think too much. I know that I'm afraid of success. I know, like, well, what if I get it and I lose it again? Like if you've lost rank, that's a big thing. Like, what if I get it and I can't keep it? What if I lose friends over this? What if, you know, like people don't, who was sharing this morning in the energy bus, Ian, about how like they've been attacked over the business by all these people. And I'm literally like, okay, so like for all of us that has, you know, almost all of us that has happened, right? We've gotten negatives from someone, friends, family, strangers, trolls, doesn't matter, right? It's happened. That voice, and Ian, if you are watching this, I'm talking to you. Like that voice is not going to go away. The next time he or me or you decide to reach out to somebody about the business and be like, oh my God, your subconscious be like, oh my God, I'm really putting myself out there. Like, what are they going to say? Right. And you're like, it's not a loud voice. It's never a loud voice. It's always quiet. But knowing that like, okay, this is a pitfall for me. Every time I've reached out for the business, somebody ghosts me or they have negative things to say and they want to tear me down. The easy thing to say, you know, the easy things is like, okay, well, like, is their opinions going to pay your bills? Absolutely not. Right? That's the easy stuff. But the subconscious is still there. So it's like, okay, I'm going to get into action. I'm going to flex this muscle. I know that I get really nervous and I get really upset and I worry what people are going to say when I go to reach out about the business. So what am I going to do? I'm going to practice how to do it confidently. I'm going to work on my mindset before I send the message. Okay. Like sports analogies. Here we go. So you're getting ready to play a big game. Okay. And if you're an athlete and they're singing the national anthem, your brain is not quiet. Okay. You are literally pumping yourself up right at that moment. You are excited. You are ready. You have to get in the place. You have to do the things. You don't just like la-di-da out of the locker room and like swagger onto the field and you're just like, here's to this next hour and a half. Like you are pumping your brain up. You are ready to do your job. You are talking to yourself. You are praying. You are affirmations. You are here for it. Okay. You can do that in your business. You can sit for a minute and like, okay, I'm going to send business messages right now. There's people that need what I have. Someone is going to accept my message. This will make a difference in someone's life. Like talk to your 1 minute, you guys, 60 seconds. If you know that that is something you struggle with, take 60 seconds and pump yourself up to do the job. Everybody has an opinion about absolutely everything. Okay. It doesn't matter what it is, right, wrong, indifferent. They're going to have an opinion. So it doesn't matter if you're going to message them about the business or you're going to ask them about their opinion on the 2 cars that you're looking at. They're going to give it to you. Okay. It doesn't matter. We have something to offer people. We are adding value. If someone wants to take the opportunity and beat your subconscious down because they just don't agree, and most of the time it's that they don't understand this company and they don't understand like how we do things and what we're about and where our hearts are at, that's on them. That's not us. But when you've put in the work to figure out, this is a stumbling block for me. I keep getting hung up here. This is a deep-seated belief that I have had my entire life. What do I need to do to get past it? The action is what matters. The action is what matters. And think about this, like, guys, in just common sense. Okay. It's like that silly thing we see. Like if you have a rock in your shoe, like, are you going to keep walking or are you going to take it out? Okay. Why does my foot hurt? Oh my gosh, there's a rock in my shoe. Okay. That only does this much. Nothing's going to get better if you don't bend over and take the rock out of your shoe. It's the same thing with self-growth. Identifying all the things that are tripping you up is great. And I applaud everybody that's willing to do it because it isn't easy. But if you're not willing to bend over and take the rock out of your shoe, like, what do you think is going to happen? You have to get into action, especially over the things that you want to change. If you're like, I just can't do this, blah, blah, blah. My business isn't growing, you're da, 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 and somebody told you at the very beginning of your journey or yesterday, like, you're never going to be really successful at this. You know that, right? What do you think your subconscious is going to do every time you try to grow your business? You know, you're going to become one of those people that share so much that everybody unfriends them and everybody talks about them when they walk up to the school. Do you think you're going to keep sharing confidently? Do you think you're going to speak to the hearts of people? No, because you're going to be like, oh my gosh, what are they going to think when I walk into school or I walk into church or I walk into my job? What are they going to think? No, your subconscious is going to be like, don't post that. Don't say that. Don't bring that up. It's the work to get past that. It's the work to get past that. And that's what we need to be focusing on. We need to dig down. We need to do the work. We need to figure out the stumbling blocks in front of us. But the biggest thing is taking the steps in the action to get past it. Sitting in it and thinking about it is not going to do anything. And I think about this every single time with a rock in my shoe because we don't have trash pickup at my house. So we actually have a dumpster. So a lot of times I have to take the trash out to the dumpster. Well, we have a stone driveway. So I walk across the stone driveway. And a lot of times I am still in my slippers because I work from home. And I always, every single time, I get a rock in my shoe on the way to that dumpster. And every single time I'm like, can I make it to the dumpster and back, or do I need to stop and put the 2 bags of trash down and pick this up? Like, this happens. We do that in our business. Yeah, I have to stop every time and get the rock out of my shoe because it's stinking hurts. Okay? So what happens? I put the bags of trash down, I get the rock out of my shoe, I pick them up, and I go on about my business. But I do think, can I do this with the rock in my shoe? Just out of, like, I'm on a mission, the laziness, like, we do this in our business. Bend over, take the rock out. You did the work of figuring out that there was a rock in your shoe, of what's holding you back. But are you getting into action, or are you just mulling it over, hoping it gets better? Hoping that a rock star just comes and blows your team up and you're just like, see, it worked. I didn't really have to get through all of that stuff. You can't sit around and wait for somebody else to figure it out. You have to get into action. Move the needle. Are you doing busy work? Are you working your butt off? You're doing a lot of things, but you're skirting around the couple things. And guys, like, again, this could be a thought that you have. And you're like, I'm not really sure what the action is. Okay. The action is the practice of handling it, of reforming that thought, of ingraining it differently in your mind and in your story. Absolutely, you can be busy and not productive. I know a lot of busy people. And a sign of that is, and I'm here for this, I tell y'all, like, if you are busy and you're like, I work a lot, I do a lot, and you're not seeing growth, that's your sign. Here's your sign. You're like, I just work so much, I do so much, I send so many messages. I'm like, but are you doing the things to move the needle forward? And then getting to the root cause of why. and handling that and doing the actions around that. Those are the actions you need to be taking. Otherwise, we're not fixing, we're band-aiding, right? Our whole company is around gut health and getting to the root cause of so many things, yet we're band-aiding ourselves and our businesses and our growth. It'll be fine. We'll get through it. Somebody's going to come along and just be a rock star, and I'm going to hit Emerald, and it's going to be great. So I want you to think like, okay, you've done the work, you figured out the stumbling blocks. What are they? What are the thoughts that are taking over your brain? And I told you they are whispers. They are not screams. What are those things? And then what actions are we taking to overcome that? If your thought is, I don't know that I could develop a silver. I don't think I could do that. I'm not confident enough. I don't post well enough. Do you think your brain is going to help you do tasks that may help you create a silver? No. Absolutely not. It's not going to solve the problem for you. I've said this to my daughter doing her reading homework and her spelling homework and her math homework. And she's like, it's just too hard. I just can't do it. I'm not good at this. And I'm like, okay, you just said that it's too hard and you're not good at it. Do you think your brain is going to help you figure it out? Or do you think your brain is going to tell you this is no good and I don't want to do it? She's like, I don't want to do it. I'm like, right. Because that's what you're telling yourself. I had somebody tell me that they use this other product and they think it's yucky. They called it a yucky something, whatever. But they told me they're not consistent taking it. They take a yucky vitamin or whatever. And I was like, and I literally said, well, I wouldn't take it consistently either if my brain thought it was yucky. You literally just told me I have a yucky vitamin I don't take consistently. Yeah, that's because it's yucky. Like, total transparency, I don't love Restore for the taste. But you know what my brain knows? It's really good for me. So I'm going to take it. That's what my brain knows. So what does your brain know about your business? What does your brain know about your capabilities? Your conscious mind, your heart. We talked about that last week. What does your heart know? Get into action around those things. Don't just sit around and wait. Don't just sit with a rock in your shoe. Wait for somebody else to take it out. Identify what's holding you. Figure that out. That's the emotional part. I'm not even going to say it's the hard part. It's the emotional part. Because you already know the answer. It's not like you have to figure it out. You just have to let yourself know the answer. And then get into action. Do things against that. Create affirmations around it. Move the needle in the hard places. Do those things first. Eat the frog, right? So that's what I want to challenge you guys with today. It is only the 6th of the month, y'all. Okay? 6th of the month. Be excited. You got 24 more days of this. And it's only going to get better. Take my word for it. Do the things that are going to move the needle forward. Don't get stuck and stagnant because you're unwilling to do the uncomfortable. All right, y'all. Have a wonderful Wednesday. Go pump yourselves up. Put some music on, affirmations, do your thing. Have a good day.